Now this, a new Fox News poll shows that more than half of voters say they are financially worse off now compared to 4 years ago. That's not good, is it? Christopher Bedford joins me now. Great to have you here, Christopher. How's the Biden team going to spin that one, do you think?
Well, there's not really any way to spin it, and that's something the Biden administration has really put all of their focus on over the last couple of years. They seem to not recognize that there's a policy problem with this White House. Instead, they keep on doubling back and saying, well, there's a messaging problem. If we just get more TikTokers out there, if we just let people know how great we are. Now, this is a bad poll for the White House. Of course, all the polls are generally bad for the White House, but this one, which direction is the country heading in? And are you better off than you were under the last president? That one is more historically determinative of if somebody actually wins re-election, which party goes and actually takes the White House. Those are the polls that really do matter.
You know, it's also interesting, Chris, that the Biden team is trying to convince voters that Donald Trump is the one now using a basement campaign strategy. They're also touting Biden's recent swing state events. But you know what? Trump can't be out there campaigning constantly. Why? Because the Democrats have him tied up in court. What do you have to say to that?
It's one of the tactics they've been using, which is Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Well, Democrats try to pull him off the ballot and try to put him up in prison. That Donald Trump is not out there campaigning. Well, Joe Biden didn't even run his first campaign. A lot of the corporate media allies did that for him. But I actually think this has been intelligent from Donald Trump and his moves because there has been a lot of fatigue in the country with both candidates. While they're both the obvious nominees for their party, a lot of folks have expressed dismay that we're seeing a rematch between these two candidates. Trump kind of laying low, and the stories that get out there about him being persecuted and the cases persecuting him falling apart have really kind of pushed back some of the Trump fatigue that were going on. And why does he really need to be out there quite as much? He's one of the best-known candidates in American history. He's already been president. I think it's been a wise strategy from them.
And you know what, Chris? It doesn't matter what they throw at him. It appears that with each new accusation or development in any one of his legal trials, he seems to gain support. More donations come in. It hasn't hurt him.
No, it hasn't. I mean, in 2016, when he ran for office, I think Americans could still have arguments around the Thanksgiving or Easter table about whether or not the media was biased. By the time Trump had been in office for a few years, you no longer really had that fight anymore because people just accepted it. And at the beginning of this campaign, folks might have said, well, the justice system isn't out to get Donald Trump. He's just full of it. He's got a victim complex. But now independent voters and folks who are on the fence, they look at this, they look at it racking up place after place, and they look at these cases falling apart. And it's no longer a question. Now it's pretty obvious. The Democrats' lawfare strategy is not well thought out and has not been well executed.
But very quickly, Christopher, is it a concern that the Biden campaign has been able to out-fundraise Trump by, what, a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 margin?
Yeah. That's a major concern for Trump's people. They won despite being outraised in 2016, but that was a surprise election. That's not the norm in American politics. One thing that Trump and the MAGA folks have not been able to do is get the mega donors that fund the GOP onto their side, and that's going to be a hard sell for them.
It is indeed, but it's fascinating to follow. We've got a long way to go yet. Christopher Bedford, great stuff as always. Thanks so much. Appreciate your insight on this.